Hello and welcome, everybody. We are back with Jenny and Ralph talking about the HR for Health program and the benefits thereof. The title of this particular podcast that we're doing here is "We Are a Compliance Company First," and that's a good thing. Welcome, Jenny.
Hi, Ralph. How are you?
I'm good. Okay, so we've had a couple of these interactions and or conversations that we have recorded in the past. The feedback we have received is that if we do witty banter, people really find this interesting. So let's try this new format.
No pressure, no pressure.
Being witty on command. I don't know, we're two business people. We're not comedians, so I'm not so sure that this is going to work. But
some people might not think that, though. Like outside of this podcast, we are pretty hysterical, I would say.
Oh my God, yeah. I don't think so, but hey. With that said, so I think this is actually a really important topic, right? Like, what does this mean? HR compliance. Why is that important? Why should people in the healthcare business even care about that?
Right.
So I think that it is a valuable part to talk about and to give people a reason to listen to our talking points. So I'm going to throw the first question at you,
Okay.
Jenny. What makes us a compliance company?
So yeah, like you said, we're a compliance company. I'm not sure if everyone knew that, but that's what we do. Like that's our niche. So what makes us a compliance company? I mean, to be compliant, there are certain things that you have to do or have to follow. One of those is having an employee handbook. Not only having an employee handbook, but making sure that you have everything inside of that handbook that will keep you compliant. So anytime there's an HR law that changes, making sure that that employee handbook is updated. So we do that for you. One reason we are a compliance company, making sure that you have all of the new hire documents you need when you hire a new employee for your particular state. Again, we know all states' new hire requirements, and we have that for you within our software. So another reason why we are a compliance company. Having a time clock that's compliance. Most people would say, why does a time clock need to be compliant? You want to make sure that you pay your employees correctly. That's a huge part about saying compliant.
Right.
So we have that for you. Performance reviews, making sure your employees know when their review is, their goals to, possibly get a raise and how they would work towards that goal.
Yep.
That's in our software for you. Violations, job descriptions with salary ranges, which is a new thing we have learned that a lot of states are doing now. So there's so many different things that make us a compliance company, and those are just a few.
Yeah. I think we said the word compliance about 73 times. So
have I done that already?
No. Look, this is what we said. I mean, it's in the title, so we might as well say it 74 more times.
Just in case you didn't know.
So no, look, I think that you started down a couple of really important points that we need to talk about. I wanted to give a couple of examples of what that means, or what are examples of why it is important. First one is, for example, the meal and rest breaks. And I think everybody that works in an in a healthcare industry understands how difficult it is to adhere to a schedule. Because if you're in a healthcare business and you see emergencies, they don't wait for your lunch. Or you can't just take the hands out of your patient's mouth if you're a dental office and say, sorry, hungry.
We would like to do that, but we should not do that.
Exactly. You shouldn't do that. Right? Like the priority is exactly the priority is the welfare of the patient, right? And so these things are difficult to manage, and the reason why they're difficult is because if you do not adhere to it, states do not care, and you roll into what you call an overtime situation, right? You can prevent these things and or manage them properly if you know how to. So meal and rest breaks is one of the examples of how you need to stay compliant and or why this is important. The other thing, again, specific to a healthcare industry, is people work different hours. People work sometimes long days, other times short days, and or they're off for 3 days and work 4. So there are issues here that we can manage. It's called an alternative work week, and in the state of California, for example, you'll have to get pre-approved by the state labor law, but so you can get this done if you know about it in advance. And I know that, again, there are a lot of healthcare businesses that have Monday off and Tuesday through Saturday, or they work 4 10-hour days, and the receptionist needs to be there for 10 hours because she opens the door and she closes the door, right? So you want to protect yourself, you want to protect your business, but also you want to properly communicate with your employees that you're not taking advantage of them. You are, as a matter of fact, you're protecting them, and they know that you're paying them properly.
And they have you. So when I bring up one point with the alternative work schedule, not only do you have to get it approved by the state, once you submit it, it has to be approved by them. You have to vote on it as in an office, like with all of your employees' approval of that. So it's not just something you can say, we're going to do this, and it's been approved by the state. It has to go to your employees first to vote on.
Yeah.
And then you're also mentioning some really good points. And I think that most people understand this about HR for health. It's kind of in our name, but we are industry specific. So we are for the dental and the medical community.
Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about, because this is not mentioned often enough, is obviously we are a software solution, right? Like we want to make your life easier, but what does that, how does that translate into the reality of your day-to-day life, and why is this important? So some of you may have seen our recent webinar that other staff members of ours did about the law updates for 2023. Jenny, how many law updates are there for 2023?
130 plus new compliance laws for 2023. It's crazy.
Yeah. So you guys, what we're talking about here is there's no way for a doctor to keep up with those things behind the scenes. There's just no way, right? So this is where our expertise and our software solution really go beautifully hand in hand. We provide a behind the scenes service that allows you to do this and stay compliant, because we automatically push those new updates to you, how they apply to your state specifically. We give you an update for it, we will inform you on it, and you can acknowledge it, right? So I think that those are the little things that make the user case and the application of a software like ours really important.
Yeah.
So sorry, go ahead.
No, that's okay. We like to cut each other off sometimes, and both of us like to talk a lot.
This is the witty part.
Yeah. We're always both so excited to talk. I'm like, no, it's my turn, Ralph. But no, just with the 130 plus new compliance requirements, obviously that's going to be for, different states. But like Ralph said, that's where we come in and really help to alleviate that stress for you. But besides that, there's, simple things that you may not even think of. Other states that are requiring that you put the pay range in the job descriptions. So employees know, kind of for this particular job that they're hiring for, what could my pay look like? And, and also not asking them what they expect for pay. That's a no now. So those things that you wouldn't think about to stay compliant, we're here to help you with that. So that's what I wanted to add in. I'm sorry, Ralph, go ahead.
No, all good. No, absolutely valid point. So the next talking point that I wanted to go and explore a little bit is, we've talked about the beginning, the handbook being important. So and the employee documentation when they're starting in their career with a healthcare company. But what I think that gets sometimes overlooked, and the hectic schedule doesn't sometimes allow for certain things, are also important to talk about. And what I'm talking about here are employee reviews,
Yep.
understanding how important they are to the employee, how to design them, what are they supposed to be tagged to, so they are meaningful and they have the desired outcome. So let's talk about that a little bit. Where do you want to get started with that, Jen?
Let's just talk about like employee retention, dependent on like those employee reviews and that transparency and communication. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure if a lot of people know this about me, but I was a private practice office manager, a regional manager for a long time. And what's most important to employees is to understand where they stand with the company. And I wouldn't say, I mean, that's kind of my opinion on it, but I would hear from employees all the time, how am I doing? Am I, am I meeting your requirements, or when am I going to have a review? Now, most employees want to know when they're going to have a review because they think it's tied to a raise. It doesn't always have to be tied to a raise, but it does need, I mean, it's beneficial for both the office manager as well as the owner and the employee to know where that employee stands in their employment. How well are they doing? Are they meeting your expectations? Do you have a goal for them that could be tied to a raise? And how do they meet that goal? All of those things need to be documented. It can't just be a conversation that you have one time. And the employee's kind of left with, well, how do I get to that goal? What did we talk about again? So within our software, we do have employee reviews built out for you. It's all in writing. The goals are written out. When those reviews are going to happen, that's written out, along with violations. And violations don't necessarily have to be a negative thing, right? We can't just, it's a violation sounds very negative, but it can be positive for the employee to know, hey, by the way, did you know this is one of our policies? And we just like to remind you of this. And for an employee who wants to do well for the company, might be thankful for, that you told them about that,
Right.
and let them know that they were violating a policy within your office so they could correct it and help them towards that goal of possibly getting a good review that's tied to a raise, if that's what you're doing for your office. So documentation, of course, everyone knows in HR is utmost importance, but making sure that you are just being transparent in your communication with the employee as well, so they understand where they stand with the company.
Yeah, I think that last part is really important. Is the documentation, yes, but tying it to both their personal performance to understand that there is a goal
Right.
that is attainable. And then the second part is if you have these reviews and discussions on the regular basis, it really allows for employees to understand how they fit into the bigger picture of the business.
Right.
And
Exactly.
and so I think that look, I know I function much better if someone tells me why I'm doing something.
Oh, of course.
It motivates me, right? And so I think that knowing why your job and how you do it is beneficial to the bigger picture of the company is really important. And I know this sounds silly for a single practice where they're, well, I have one doctor and I have 7 employees. Duh, everybody knows. I wouldn't assume that. If you're hiring somebody that is new to healthcare business, let's just start with entry-level position, someone who starts out, they start answering the phone, they have been trained for a while.
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand how the back office works. They don't understand what the medical specificities are in a practice. Explaining and walking them onto that process and making them understand how vital their part is to the overall success of the business can really motivate an employee. And
Right.
tying reviews and potentially a bonus or a raise to that is then very easy. Because people know why they're doing it and they know how to attain it and how they need to behave in order to do that. So I
And
think
then
that,
before even like those performance reviews, having a job description that says this is what we want from your employment here. These are your
Great point.
responsibilities, and having that clearly laid out
Great point.
with their confirmation of I understand what my job duties are is so important to have as well. And so again, that is built into the software for you, but
Yeah.
ties very nicely into those performance reviews, because if you do have a conversation with an employee who may not be meeting some of your expectations, or for that company, you can tie that back directly to the job description that they did sign, and confirm that they understood what they were doing. So again, all about documentation, but really to make an employee's experience with your company a great one, there needs to be that transparent communication.
Yeah, I think that the final point along this is that we have all been experiencing the ups and downs in the economy in the last couple of years. We've all gone through COVID lockdowns, et cetera, and having experienced people leaving businesses or God forbid people being laid off and then trying to rehire, those employee life cycles cost a lot of money to a business. And if you properly manage an employee, the likelihood of them leaving is so much lower, right? And look, everybody knows that it is like 3 times as expensive to find and replace a good employee than to review them and give them a raise, right? So these are really valid tools and or important tools for the overall success of your business. So you will lower your employee churn if you properly maintain their life cycle with reviews, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly. I think we're talking about compliance here. We're also talking about transparency and communication and what the employee needs to know, but it's all about staying compliant and protecting your organization. Like the icing on the cake is that the employee is going to love working for your organization because they understand what is expected. They understand how to meet their goals or attain a raise, however you have that set up for your company. But while you're doing that, while that's the icing on the cake, the entire time you're staying compliant, and we are helping you do that by taking the heavy burden off of your shoulders with knowing what the new laws are or whatnot. You can focus on your employees and making sure that their experience with your organization is a great one.
Yeah, great. So I think we've bantered really well. We're about almost at a 20-minute mark there, Jenny. We can easily chit chat. Yeah. So I hope this was informative. Like I said, we want this to stay in like bite size in its overall length. I hope you found some nuggets in here and will join us for future conversations when we either bring a guest speaker in and or talk about more specific detailed things that will make your business a success. Thank you so very much for listening and watching. Jenny, I'll give you the final word.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Hopefully, like Ralph said, you found this informative. Bite-sized chunks as we're starting with the little pieces here and there. But yeah, we're here to help you. HR for Health is all about education. We really take a big stand behind, helping clients and non-clients understand the importance of compliance. And this is a little, again, it's just a little bit more icing on the cake to help you out there. So thanks for watching.
Bye, all.
Okay, bye, guys.